Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures that Outperform. Hi, I'm Frank Warner. I'm the CEO of People Productive, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Terri Mays, a certified culture engineer. I hope you've been tuning into the Belonging series. We know in this new world of work where companies are going to have to hoard talent to win and succeed, that creating the sense of belonging is what's going to allow you to hang on to your best people. So we're on the third episode, which is we've gone through what belonging is, and belonging is not an emotion, it's a feeling. And we've gone through how and belonging begins to initially form with that sense of fact that people care about you, finding a little meaning. Now we're going to talk about how the sense of belonging grows a little bit deeper. And there's a whole set of things that happen that allow that person to feel a deeper sense of belonging in the organization, because once they realize that, wow, these people actually care about me, now they begin to spot other things that are happening that make them feel a sense of belonging, hopefully. And we'll talk about a few of those. Most of these are those real belonging behaviors. I'll just throw one out, which is acceptance, that true feeling of acceptance. Not that you're just there and people need you to do things, but that they really accept you for who you are. They want to find out more about you. You get that genuine sense of acceptance out of the organization. And now, wow, management cares about me. People care about me. Oh, I'm being accepted. And so, boom, there's another part of the person taking root in your organization. Each of these are these fibers that put them down in the culture or your soul of the organization so that they really take root. And these human needs are powerful, and you've got to consciously be able to meet them and understand what they are. Right, Tara?
Absolutely. You definitely want people to feel like they're accepted on the team, that they're there because you want them to be there, not because you feel like, oh, we had to fill this position, so here's a person, but we don't really include them in anything. You really want that person to feel like they're a part of the team, that they're a welcomed addition. And tell people that, let them know how you feel about them being on the team, that you're excited that they're there, because that really helps deepen those roots. It helps people feel like, oh, they really want me here, because you can absolutely tell when people don't want you there. You may not say those words, but when
Isn't
you
that
make
true?
people feel like you don't want them around, they sense that without you saying the words. So make sure that your people are, again, you can't fake this one. You really do have to genuinely want the person around and be
Yeah.
excited for them to be there. But once you do, it helps people feel like they can share more of who they are. And once people start sharing more, you can build some deeper relationships. You can start to share more about who you are. And then, as well as you start to feel like you want to help each other, you want to support each other, you want to bring some more things to the table and help make your team better. Those are all the things that you want to kind of start working together in the organization. You want people to feel like they can actually put down some roots, feel connected to the team by sharing all of the resources that they have. You don't want people to feel like, well, I'm going to hoard this knowledge because I'm the only person that knows how to do it, and they'll have to depend on me. You don't want people to feel like that. You want people to feel like they can share what they know. They can start to deepen those roots and connections with each other. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be friends with everybody on the team, but
No.
it does mean that you'll be able to collaborate, you'll be able to share information and actually get things done quicker and faster.
Yeah. And you're not just included because you're working there, work has to get done. There's a lot of reasons to include people. You're being included because they want you there.
Right.
Right. So when you go and you arrive on a Zoom call, maybe you go to a meeting, you're back in the office. As you walk into that conference room or get on the call, there's a little warmth. You could tell that you're actually being included because they want you there. And that is a real deep part of even feeling more accepted in the organization. You're being included for the right reasons. They want you around. And these things really matter because then people start to cooperate, right? They're more cooperative. Things have to get done. They're going to make time for you, going to discuss what you need to discuss. They're going to actually be cooperative. They're not going to be a roadblock. That starts to deepen the sense of belonging. And as this starts to evolve, you're going to create friendships. And of course, we know friendships go so far in terms of creating a sense of belonging, that it's probably one of the most powerful things that starts to glue people into the organization. Tara, should I share that slide you put together?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's time, right? Let's do that. We'll go in, we'll share that screen, and boom, here we go. Oh, okay, here we are. So a lot of things to increase a sense of belonging, some of it even growing these roots a little bit deeper than what we were talking about. But you want to be able to increase that sense of belonging, because it says here on top, belonging leads to engaged, thriving employees. This leads to better business. So Tara,
Absolutely.
take it away.
Yeah, when people feel like they're connected and they belong, they're actually looking out for the company. They're doing things and being proactive and trying to solve problems before they become a problem.
Mhm.
They're looking for ways to improve the things that they do continuously because they care about it. They've figured that the company cares for them, so they now care for the company. And those connections start to be made that deepen those roots and make people have much better outcomes as a result. I mean, there's so much information you can find about organizations that have higher profits. You know, here's a quote from Gallup that business units with engaged workers have 23% higher profits compared to business units with miserable workers. Those miserable workers are not thinking and being proactive. They are not taking things and trying to make them better. They're not thinking about continuous improvement at all. They're thinking about survival.
Yeah.
You can't have higher profitability if you're just trying to survive. So you've got to have people that feel like they can make connections in the organization, that they're respected, that their basic needs are met. You know, you can't have people fighting for just the basic needs to be met in the organization and think that you're going to be innovative and creative. It's just not going to happen. So you really got to take care of some of those basic things so that the people can start focusing in on those things that are more important, those things that increase that sense of belonging, like being transparent. You
Yeah.
want to, as a leader, be transparent. You want to be able to share things. And there are times when you can't be, right? So there are things that sometimes you just can't share. But when you can share, share what you can. Like, don't keep everything so secret and don't make everything be, top secret where you can't share anything. Do some things and let people know. And in some cases, share some things that, sometimes you shouldn't share it, but yes, you should.
Yeah.
Find those things. There's always a subset of those things that people are not supposed to share that get shared anyway. But you're building a sense of belonging on your team. You're building trust with your team, and you have to be careful with that. I do understand what I'm saying. So you do
Yeah. I mean,
have to
certain
be
things,
careful.
obviously, you're sworn to secrecy on, depending
Exactly.
on your level in an organization, and you can't violate that.
Exactly. Yeah. But there are some things where you can share it. So make people feel like they're a part of the decision-making process. Bring them in, be transparent with them and let them in on what's going on and the thought process behind it. A lot of times there are decisions being made that we don't like, but at least if I understand the thought process, I may be able to accept it a little better. So
Mhm.
take time and help people. Don't just force decisions down their throat and expect them to be happy about it, because they won't be.
Yeah. And, we see higher level needs here, like growth. That's certainly a higher level need. You want people
Yes.
to grow in the organization. But in a caring culture where you're going to nurture and grow the people, that really is one of the things that starts them to take root in your culture and want to be part of the place, because they're going somewhere positive. It's going to be helpful to them. And leaders that understand that humans have needs that have to be met in order for them to thrive and flourish, which means in order for the company to thrive and flourish, because they're not going to thrive without the employees thriving. Ultimately, they pay attention to this stuff. This does matter. It's not just a bunch of soft fluffer nutter sandwiches. It's the real thing. You got to do this.
Yeah.
And soliciting feedback. Always recommended people do kind of stay meetings instead of, interviewing somebody after they've left to say, why'd you leave? To have a meeting to say, look, how are you doing? I want to make sure you stay in the company. Find out from them how they're doing. That really deepens a sense a belonging because they know you care about them being there
Yeah.
and want to keep them. And they'll tell you what's going well, what isn't.
Yeah. That's a huge thing. I don't know if enough companies do that, where they actually have those check-ins on employees to see what's going on, how they're feeling.
Yeah.
Having those stay interviews or just, check-in sessions with people to find out how they're feeling. What are they going through in their personal life? Are there any things that they need to share with you?
Mhm.
Having those times to talk with your leadership and really share your humanity with that leader, it's huge.
It's huge.
It's a huge win. And those things, again, we've done shows about this. Those are things you can do that cost you no money. Just
Yeah.
being human and actually listening to people and trying to meet some of the needs that they have, remove some of the roadblocks that they have. Sometimes you can't do something about everything, but there's always one or two things that you can do to lighten people's loads, to
Yeah.
make things a little bit easier for them. And it's huge.
Little things go a long way.
A
Little
long
acts of
way.
kindness.
Yes.
Kindness is a big thing. That's part of a caring culture, is that people do acts of kindness for one another. They can be very simple, any thoughtful act.
Yeah.
You remember that, it's somebody's, got an important thing to do with their family. And you say, hey, look, I remember you told me you're going to be doing X. Why don't you leave a little early and go take care of some of the stuff? I know you got things to do. Just looking out for them in their best interest. Those things all get repaid because it's all reciprocal. What goes around comes around. If they care, if you care about them, they're going to care about you, the success of the company.
That's very
If you
true.
don't care about them, then they're there for a paycheck. They're going to do what they have to do to survive. And you're going to have that quiet quitting going on all over the organization. Some of the polls showed 50% of the people quiet quitting because they don't understand as a leadership team how to create that huge sense of belonging. Everything belongs. Everything begins here. If they don't belong, you've lost that individual. You're paying them, but you're getting a small fraction of what they could be doing for your company.
Yeah. Because they feel like you don't care. Caring is the absolute gateway. When you feel like people care about you, then you begin to care about them. It's just
Yeah.
the reciprocal nature of caring. So if you have made people feel like you don't care about them as an individual, you just see them as an employee number, you want them to show up, do what they're told, that's how they're going to act. If that's how you treat them, they're going to
Yeah.
come in, do what they're told and nothing more.
Exactly right.
They're, and sometimes a little less, they're going to just walk away. They're not going to put their heart and soul into anything that they're doing. They're just going to do the bare bones minimums and then go home at the end of the day. They're not thinking about how they can be creative or innovative. They're thinking about, how do I just make it through the day? That's a horrible sense of, how to feel at work. Is to, let me just make it through the day. I'm just barely making, just barely getting by, barely making it. I hate coming in here. You don't want people working with you like that. You really don't. You want people to feel like they are excited to go to work, that they get a chance to do some great things and make a difference, because people are just hardwired to do that. So you want to make sure that they're making a difference, that you're giving them those growth opportunities, that you're giving them opportunities for training and mentoring, that you're
Big time.
helping them grow and develop as individuals, because that's automatically going to improve their work performance if you help them grow as an individual.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to work better for the company. That's why you want them to grow. I mean, there's a famous saying where they were talking to some executive interviewing him, and they said, are you investing in training? He said, I don't think the people are going to stay. I'm not going to waste my money. And the guy interviewing him and said, well, what if they do stay? Obviously you want to invest so that you have the best possible workers, and then they're going to stay. So that whole attitude is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if we said many times, people rise or lower themselves to meet your level of expectations. If you expect them to leave, they're quitting. And
Right.
that expectation, they're going to feel it, right? Because it's a vibe.
Yes.
You're going to put off a vibe that you don't care about these people. And, when people know you care about them, they're much more willing to help others. It is all reciprocal. And helping behaviors are so productive. When some member on the team sees somebody stuck and they go over and say, hey, what do you look like you're stuck a little? Can I help you? Oh, I wasn't going to bug you, but yeah, I'm working on XYZ. And, oh, yeah, no problem. Here's what you do. Go over here, do this, do this. you may have just saved hours of productive time by helping
Yes.
them right there, so they don't try to solve it on their own. And it
Yeah.
shows them that it's okay to ask for help in that place. And so that's what the sense of belonging does. It starts to trigger all these very productive, positive behaviors in the organization.
Yeah. You get that sense of cooperation where people are going out of their way to support each other and they're willing to work together. We've all been on teams where people would not cooperate, where they just became
Yeah,
stubborn and they dug their heels in and they just refused to help, even when
right.
they knew they could. They
Passive
refused to
resistance.
share information, just being, I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean. You know, that person
Yeah.
that just, they just dig their heels in and they will not cooperate no matter what. You don't want people like that on the team.
No.
You really
And you
don't.
can't accept it. Well, listen, another great episode. We're going to continue on with episode 4 next week, and it's going to be strengthening that sense of belonging even further. There are higher level sets of needs that can be met that are going to make these people even more engaged and have a much deeper sense of belonging in your company. So, we're here every Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. We have another show, the series on belonging. We have 3 more episodes to go. And I think you're going to really enjoy it because there's so much you can do in a company to have workers who feel they belong. And every company should be doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, take care.
Yes. Bye